coming on like a star. I don't know what's happening right now. John is not getting on camera. I guess I have to introduce him. That's where we are, people. That on Facebook Live, we have to, it's now my job to say, come on, John, come on to the podcast. So welcome to Saturday. We are at Soergels. We are so excited to be here. You know the drill. We understood that our listeners wanted to see what was going on. So we do this as a behind the scenes Facebook Live for people to see all the craziness and the silliness and all the hustle and bustle that goes on behind the scenes. So as you know, you're watching this now, but you can actually listen to it on KDKA on Monday and on our site on YaJagoff.com on Tuesday. And we have some great guests. We're pretty excited.
Right. And we always start with...
Was that a good enough intro for you?
It was, yeah, totally gave me time to get my makeup on.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So as we normally do, we will start with a musician. And this week is totally cool because we missed these guys. They are typically called the YaJagoff Polka Band when they are with us at Kennywood.
Yep.
But they were already booked. So
talk about prima donnas. They're getting to the point where they're like, sorry, we can't do Kennywood.
Their tour bus had no room to park in here. Yeah. So anyway, so we're going to play hockey with Greg and Jeff. I don't play hockey with their dad, but that's okay.
Love
he would
him.
probably beat me to the puck as well. So let's just welcome we're going to just call them the Palastro Polka Band. Okay. Do it. There we go. The Palastro Polka Band, otherwise known as the Jagoff Polka Band.
Well, they didn't want that, John. They did not want that title.
We're separating these days, right?
They're too big.
They are for hire, by the way.
But they are. Yes, for sure. And listen, especially this time of year, because we were saying, we can't believe how many festivals are incorporating this kind of music, right? Yeah. This is great. It's so cultural, and we love it. So you're going to hear it every October, whether you like it or not.
They'll also do Christmas and things like that, too.
They
need Christmas money just like the rest of us.
Oh,
all right, Here we go. So if you're watching, this is how we start the podcast every week. It's a Roerich Honda ad.
Roerich Honda may get a smaller fleet of cars than trucks these days, but they have a 100-point system to best prepare their pre-owned and certified vehicles on the lot.
Plus, they have a warehouse full of backups that can satisfy any vehicle request. Visit Roerich.com for all of your vehicle needs. And now we start this week's YaJagoff podcast from Soergels. If you're a Yinzer, you go Soergels.
Yeah, we have to find that out.
Right. So this is the YaJagoff Podcast, and you're listening to it maybe on the Odyssey app. If you're on iTunes, we hope that you go to, and you're listening for the first time, we ask that you at least go make a nice comment over there so we can show it to our parents or something like that.
And what I love about the Odyssey app is Odyssey is really focusing on podcasts, and we have to tell you that Larry Richard is going to be, you're going to be hearing a little more of Larry on our podcast because he has a podcast now with Jim Krenn.
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting.
Right. And so we also want you to listen to Kelly on Star 100.7. 7 every day at 4:55 because we do the Jagoff Daily Dose of Happiness. If you're looking for weekend plans, or if you have someone who did something cool in your neighborhood, you should probably let us know because we want to celebrate that.
And if you tell us, we're going to say that you told us.
Right.
That's where we're going with this. The Daily Dose is becoming like the do tell Kel kind of thing. So let us know what in the heck we need to report on that's going on. But if you're watching or you're reading our blog posts every day except for Tuesday when the podcast comes out, you will read that we report on Jagoffs in Pittsburgh. So we then tally them up in a lista on Friday on 100.7 Star, delivers who is the Jagoff of the week. Right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty fun, too. I mean, there's a lot to pick from in Pittsburgh.
And then on top of that, there's so much going on. You may know Leslie Bonsi, who used to be affiliated with UPMC, who used to be on Pittsburgh Today Live. She's now a partner with us because she is doing Cheat Chats every 2 weeks as far as how to eat healthy in Pittsburgh. We all love a good permane sandwich.
And fries.
We love fries on everything. But listen, the cool thing about Leslie is there's all sass.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Don't feel weird about asking her questions because she does not shame. That's number one. She will literally tell you that she's been there and she understands it. And she wants to actually enjoy eating. So
she would love this podcast because we're sitting here in front of a bunch of gourds and apples. She would say,
eat this, don't eat that. Like, don't eat a gourd.
Right.
Exactly. I'm pretty much
And then the last thing we want to remind you is Thanksgiving Day, we are going to be working because we are the media sponsor for the YMCA Turkey Trot, which raises money for the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank, and we will be there. And leading up to that, you're going to see some things on the blog and on our social media because we are going to cook a Yinzer turkey. Yikes. I'm not sure really what that is, but I'm fairly certain it's stuffed with chipped ham.
It's not, I swear.
All right.
It is not. Or pierogies or any of that, I swear.
All right. So
this
week's podcast, we have a bunch of guests. Why wouldn't we come to Soergel's place why would we come here without Doug Oster, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And then we have actually a special guest. But they have to get back to work because we're here during work times. So we have Eric and Randy. Are you both last name Soergel? Is Eric a Soergel? Is he like a proxy Soergel?
No, he is a Vole, which is my sister. He's my sister's son.
Okay. All right. So he's allowed in. We'll take him.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Much appreciated, everybody.
You guys, are we saying it right? Is it a soft G or a hard G?
That's a hard G. It's Soergel.
Okay. Yeah.
Soergel.
See.
Yeah, it used to be the German S-O with the umlaut over the O.
Okay.
And then R-G.
Okay.
And then they added the E sometime in the early 1900s.
There you go.
So it's all okay.
But that is one of those things where you're not sure if you're saying it right. You know, like
Yeah,
I've always
does.
said Soergels, and then I heard
the
someone
E throws
say,
everybody off too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, before every podcast, I look things up. I do some Wikipedia research, right? So we get to actually talk to you and you kind of inform us of what's right and wrong. But what I found super interesting was Soergels, and I said this to you, Randy, before we came on. Soergels was always the place, at least in the north, right, where you went because you needed pumpkins, or it was like the farm, right? And that's sort of how Pittsburgh was for so many years. And now it is this destination. And like Doug Oster pointed out, just because it's in the north, it's accessible to so many people. Take us through, as I'm reading, you have many farms, not just this location, but talk to us about how it became this kind of, I don't want to say, trendy, but it was the thing to do at holiday time, and now it's all year round.
Well, probably, I guess I can start off with that. My mom and my dad basically back in, was a truck farm, normally back in the 60s or whatever, where we grew the stuff and then took it into Pittsburgh to the produce market.
Okay.
And back in the early 60s, they sat me and my sister and stuff down and said, hey, do you want to take and move this to another area of retail, or do you want you're going to do something else? And we said, no, we're in, and when we were in, here we are,
Here you are.
And so basically they invested in us, and I think I will always credit my parents. They were the kind of parents who we never had to do what they wanted to do. They gave us the credit to go ahead and say, what do you want to do? And then they supported us. And so we decided, with my sister and myself and my wife and everything, we went into the just saying, hey, let's do a little festival, and we got people together, and it just grew from there. And we're lucky to have Eric and his sister Katie and her husband Greg, and then my daughter Amy and her husband Doug, and his brother Adam all involved. So we're lucky to have that next generation still trying to carry it on as I get older and don't want to do this.
So it is indeed a family affair.
Don't say that.
It really is a family affair.
I love it.
Right?
It really is a family operation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the neat part. And I think that that's what we've got an advantage, that these guys are really taking it to the next level and coming up with the new ideas.
Yes.
You know, we did something called an essential box during COVID that they came up with that really helped out.
Yes.
So it's the next generation's attitude and really inventiveness that has caused the place to really
so
go
I guess,
like
Eric, you can kind of pick it up from there. So I love the fact that this is like the torch being tossed, right? Not really tossed, 'cause that wouldn't be good.
Somebody would get hurt.
Yeah, to the next generation. What appealed to you in this day and age as a younger person, this kind of farm life? What appealed to you?
I love that you said younger person for one. That was really nice.
You're younger than me, so.
This is all I've ever known. I mean,
Yes.
my what we didn't say is I'm the 6th generation to
Right.
be sitting on this property.
Wow.
And like last night, I had both of my kids were here, his grandkids. So the 7th generation was here. They are active. They are involved. They're getting bit by that bug, and feeling the pride and everything that comes along with what we do.
Okay.
You know, and
That's a good point.
That just has been in our blood, and that's all I've ever known. Like I said, I grew up on my parents' farm up in Butler.
Okay.
That's where
Okay.
one of our properties
Right.
is, Butler County. And so I went to a different district and everything, so I was only able to help down here on the weekends. But I grew up in the summers in the bean patch in the cornfield. Breakfast was an ear of corn. And my grandfather would bring chocolate milk and donuts from here, and he'd meet us up there. We'd pick corn. That's what we
you
lived.
knew. That's what
Wow.
you knew. And
That's-
so while you're on that topic, John, if you don't mind me just kind of looking through. So some of the other properties, Prospect, PA, Evans City, Renfrew.
Connoquenessing Township
Yeah.
is where we're at, right off of 528. If you know where the Butler Fairgrounds are,
Yes.
straight south towards Evans City, that's 528. We have a few different properties right off of there.
Wow.
And how we got those properties is like when my sister got married and everything. It was like, hey, where do you want to live? And so getting more property to do things. So that's where all these farms have evolved north in Butler. That's where Linda and Larry moved to. That's where they live. Beth and I just live on this property down here. But then those farms, as we wanted more property, that's how we got all those different properties.
And are all of those properties retail, or are they mainly they're just for growing?
It's for growing. It's where we
Okay.
got all the sweet corn, the pumpkins, and you know
Okay.
the cucumber, all that stuff. And my nephew Adam is the one who pretty much kind of oversees all that.
I love the fact that, we talk about 6th generation and how things have changed. When your mom and dad owned this, they probably had a wooden sign hand-painted. Now we have Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And what do you think your mom and dad would think about all this social media stuff right now? Huh?
They were very progressive with that kind
Is
of
that
stuff.
right?
I mean, yeah, they never were something. Whenever we decided to do or whatever we were doing, they always did it. My mom just passed away September 1st. She was
okay.
93.
Sorry to hear that.
But one of the things
Bless
I
her.
wanted to say was kind of interesting. Just several months ago, how people save things or whatever. She said, "Hey, you know what? I want to give you these papers." And she, in her drawer in her dresser, had the original deed from and the passports from the original John Conrad from the 1800s in her drawer.
Oh, wow.
So how did they?
So everybody has a
I
drawer.
didn't even know they had. Everybody has a drawer.
Yeah,
So,
right.
And the deed is
wow.
and the deed is a hand drawn drawing with a little. There's a stone here. There's a this. And so it's really pretty cool. But that
my
was
God.
kind of some of the neat stuff that we've
And it
been able
doesn't
to do.
surprise you. I see you
No,
both
it doesn't
shaking your heads
surprise
like,
us.
of course,
Yeah.
right?
But how it got from 1850 to now without us
absolutely.
even knowing about
Yeah.
it.
Well, and even that, as I said, I'm looking through, and again, admittedly, I've not been here, and probably my sister-in-law and I brought our kids to do you do a blueberry picking time? That's how long ago. And I think one of my kids was in kindergarten. So it's been some time. I need to get back here, essentially.
We get that a lot of people saying, "Oh, I haven't been there since my kids were little," and that's what we've gotten away from. Where we don't want to try to be everything to everyone,
Sure.
but we do offer a lot of different options to try to be of interest to all age groups and backgrounds. So
I can't believe
We're
it.
glad
And
you're back.
you were, I'm glad to be back. And I say this, and I don't want to. I think this is a good thing. So educate me. It's almost like you can replace the common mainstream grocery shopping at this point, right? As we're focusing on, and not that you're trying to do that, but you're offering another, I'm sure, like opportunity. Hey, a lot of people don't want to go to the traditional supermarket. You have everything right here that literally, if you want to come get your produce, you have a natural shop too. I mean, I had no idea this existed.
Yeah, we have like 2,000 gluten-free items, that's in this part of it. And that's because my daughter has celiac.
I read that,
and so she's the one who basically started that, and she's very up on, the products that are there always.
Sure.
I'm kind of the test market. I taste a lot of things, and if I like it, it's fine because I don't have to eat that way. So she's making sure the products are good and everything.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the challenges faced. We see national news stories about farming and it's falling off, and then like down in Washington County, we know of some dairy farms where the kids moved away, then moved back. But what are the challenges at this point as far as the farm? I mean, obviously weather and all Mother Nature has issues. Your life depends on. But what are the challenges, and what can, other than supporting you by coming here and buying things, how can we be supportive?
I think that's all.
it.
Everything we can control, we do our best to control. But the things that are most frustrating are things like the weather. Like you look in the background today, it's gray out. We are a destination, therefore people don't have to come here.
Right.
We want them to want to come here.
Right.
Yeah.
But they don't have to come here, and that's part of the impact that the weather has on us. Oh, it's rainy. We don't really need to go get candy apples today or go play at the play area, but we definitely have the things that you can fill your cupboards with.
Right.
But you
That's
don't
what I
have
mean.
to come here.
That's
We're not
exactly
going
right.
to have the
But I
Band-Aids
love that
and
it's an
everything like
option
that.
that if you don't want to be, look at what we're experiencing. It used to be you literally could just go to Giant Eagle. Now people are saying, you know what, I'm going to Giant Eagle for XYZ, but I can have the option to kind of come do these kinds of things. But you're right, it's also a destination or a family, hey, let's get together and go there for a family outing.
Yeah, and we're open all year round. A lot of
Yes.
people only come in the fall, but if you ask what you can do, you can come in January.
Makes
January, February,
We'll
March.
be back.
can
We'll be here. Yeah.
But I think that what especially this next generation has done is because we are farmers, we've had to deal with hailstorms and adjusting to whatever happens.
Oh, yeah.
So no matter what happens, these guys are more flexible to say, okay, here's a problem, let's figure out how to solve it, rather than being tied up with, oh my gosh, what are we going to do?
Sure.
So I think problem solving is really what farming really teaches you.
And Eric, you started to talk about the COVID box. What was that?
Well, whenever COVID was coming down the pike and it was becoming more of a reality and becoming more clear to the world what was going to happen, and some of our contacts and friends were basically saying, hey, get the things off your shelf because you're going to be shutting down.
Right.
I get choked up.
I see
No,
that. Oh.
it's understandable.
We looked at each other and go, what the heck are we going to do?
What do you
Yeah.
And I
do?
said, I don't care what we do, but we're going to do it right.
Yes.
And we're going to do it together.
Yeah.
And we had a family meeting with a few key managers, and we kind of spit some things around and said, okay, let's meet back here in a little bit, and we came up with the essential packages in order to keep the folks that wanted to still be working with us. We were able to find roles for them and be able to find a
Wow.
service that would be valuable to the community, which was contact-free food pickup. And we kind of ran it like a farming mentality of a CSA, where community supported agriculture. We're telling you what you're going to get.
Yes.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you you're going to like it,
Yeah.
but you're not
Yeah.
and you can pass it on to your neighbors if it's
Yeah.
not your favorite,
Mhm.
but
That's a great
take
point.
the decision out of the customer's hands and go, try something you maybe never tried before, and you might really have your eyes open. And we were blown away with the support and the feedback that we got from that. And if it wasn't for that, I don't know how, with the
Yeah.
overhead and everything that happens with the farm and the farm life.
And we still
we
do
would
that
be
on Tuesdays and Fridays right now. We
So
still
it's stuck. Yeah.
We still do it 2 days a week right now. You can go onto the website and you do everything online, and order it and everything else, and then drive through between 2 and 4 o'clock and
Oh my
open your
gosh.
trunk, and we put it in.
I
I
love
love
it.
Yeah.
I thought he said get drunk and we put it in.
No.
He said lift the trunk.
No,
yeah.
that's right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
take us back a few years. We roll into the parking lot today. There are lots of these cool SUVs and cars, and everybody's kind of hanging out doing their thing. But and when you were first here, there was not a lot of there weren't even houses and all those things up here. This really was a farm outside of the city.
Yes.
Now it is a farm outside of the city, which is almost kind of surrounded by another almost city, right? So what did it look like back then? I mean, do we go back as far as, there weren't horses coming in here, right? That we don't go back that far, right? But what did the parking lot, what did this place look like when it first started?
Well, originally it was up at the corner, where the red light is. It was just a little building like 10 by 12.
Okay.
That basically we would go up and just put our vegetables or whatever we had at the corner, and people would pick them up.
Okay.
Okay, and then it went to a little bit of a twice that size of a building, but still a little standalone building. And then I think 1974 is when the building behind us right here became the next building that we added a bigger parking lot. And then if you go in there, you'll see all kinds of places where the concrete has been added. We keep adding another pad of concrete and another little addition and all that kind of stuff. So it just kept adding to that. And then this building that the gluten-free is in was a hay barn. Was a shed for just the tractors and stuff.
1890s or something
Yeah.
like that. This
Wow.
building was, right?
Yeah, I
Is
think
that right?
The gift barn has a sign in it, or has on the wall about 1895. I think is what
Wow.
it is. If you go in there, you'll see on the wall where it says.
The original outside part of the barn is now enclosed on the inside of the gift barn.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
With the
So
date
yeah,
on
so
it,
it's pretty cool.
I love that.
All right,
Boy.
before we get Doug to come talk all the stuff that I somehow screw up every time Doug's on, I don't know what happens. I mix up all my greenery and what I learned the last time. We're looking at an ugly table with gorgeous stuff on it, right? So this is the pumpkin time of year. Everybody is kind of clamoring to get their pumpkins and make everything look good, but it's apple season. Talk about why. Look how perfect those apples look.
It looks like a picture.
It does.
Yeah.
It is a picture. Yeah. What is the appeal? Why are people like, we need to get there for apples?
Well, October is the best time for apples. I mean, that's when they've been most apples are always picked in October.
Okay.
September and October. So the flavors are there. And that's what when you come to our place especially, we've got so many different varieties that you can taste, and we will let you taste any of them.
Yes.
And so an apple's not just an apple. There's so many flavors, and that's why even our cider is, I feel, probably some of the best around, because my brother-in-law Larry mixes all the varieties of apples together, so you get all the flavors together rather than someone who just presses one flavor.
Okay.
And so, if you're making applesauce or something like that, you always want to take a bunch of different kinds of apples and mix them all together.
Yes.
So that you get all the flavors at one time.
Are you getting more and more people for apples specifically? Like, can you gauge people's interest in coming, or just time of year? Like, they're here and they're like, oh, it's the apple time.
We have waiting lists for certain varieties.
Really?
And because, some apples simply are heirloom and they're fading out. Farmers are not growing them anymore. The trees might become diseased, or they don't produce much anymore, so they'll replace them with more in-demand apples. So we have partners that we've been dealing with for decades that we don't grow Lodi or transparent apples anymore, and there are very few people that like them. But it still goes back to tradition, that if there's still families in the area that, their grandma always made their early applesauce with Lodi, we better find them for them.
Oh, wow.
And
so
you
we have a waiting list, like I said, for a few things like that. So there's some apples that people would never buy if it wasn't in their family history, because like Northern Spy is an ugly apple, but it's one of the best for baking.
Is it here? Is this?
Yes.
I don't know. We have it tucked in there.
I think so. The
It
one.
bruises if you look at it too hard, so be careful.
Oh,
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
Okay.
And
It's ugly.
so that's
but it's
for
awesome.
those listening, it's a
Yeah.
bigger, it's the size of my fist. It's a green apple, but you're saying it's a great one for pies?
Absolutely. It has great flavor, holds its shape well, but it doesn't, it browns whenever you cut it. It bruises you can see some bruise marks on there, probably from the way you just handled that so
Way
well.
to
Is
go,
that
John.
right? Yeah.
Leave it to him. He just ruined it
That's
more.
the fun thing of it. People come in and go, I want a Red Delicious, and I look at them
Yeah.
and I go, respectfully, why?
Yeah. Oh,
You know,
really?
because there's so many better ones. You know?
Okay.
Well, that's what I grew up on. I respect that, but give this one a whirl, because this is called the Empire, and it's made up of half Macintosh and half Red Delicious. To me, no offense to anybody, but the worst apples, and it makes one of the best. So you can
Wow.
talk
Look
to people
at that.
about that, and it's just fun.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that the red on an apple doesn't have anything to do with its ripeness. The red is strictly sunburn, and it has nothing to do with how ripe the
Look at
apple
that.
is.
There's
And-
trivia.
The Red Delicious is the Rachel Rennebeck of
Okay, I
apples,
see.
just
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
'cause I get
so
sunburned
Eric is
immediately.
showing us a green
love
apple
it.
that has red in it, but it's colored from the
leaf
sun.
would have been
If
on
you look where the
hiding.
leaf was, it acts like the apple's
I
bathing
see.
suit.
So there's a
Look at
mark
that.
where the leaf would have covered
Yeah.
like you
Oh
put
my-
white on your
on my
nose at the
nose,
beach, right?
yeah.
And I can
Right.
actually take stick-on letters and write your name on the apple, and then let
We
it
got to do
sunburn
that.
all around.
We're sneaking up here and put YaJagoff stencils.
January.
We're going to put YaJagoff stencils on the
They would love
on
it, John.
the
Yeah.
apples.
They would love it.
Listen, you guys, this is so fantastic, and I've known this place since I was a kid, and it's so crazy that I've never even met anybody from your family.
I can't believe it took us this long to come
thankful
here.
for you guys that you still have this family tradition, so that others can keep their. Do you ship out of town? Do Yinzers come home like they from California, whatever? Oh, we got to get the Soergels. They have tradition. Do you know of stories like that?
Oh yeah, when people come in, it's one of the trips that they make sure that they come back.
Oh,
Yeah,
for sure, checklist.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, we're going to make this a quarterly trip, whether you guys are okay with it or not. You'll just see us here. January.
We'll take it.
Stenciling your apples.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So we do have a question of the day, but before we go to that, where does everybody find you? Social media, website, what else is going on that they need to come see?
Soergels.com, SOE, which a lot of people can get confused with. Soergels.com. We have our Facebook as well. Instagram is out there. We have stuff going on for the rest of the month, of course, for festivals, and then we roll right into Thanksgiving. We have turkeys, we have your pies, and everybody. We're doing.
You can order turkeys through here.
That's right. With
Oh my God!
Get the heck out!
But we're doing an essential kit for Thanksgiving too.
Good to know.
So that's available for convenience, and then we roll right into gift baskets and Christmas trees, and we'll see what COVID does for us as far as allowing to have events at that point in time.
Sure,
we normally would have a light up night or an indoor event, but we're maybe shying away for safety and comfort at this point for this year. But
check out your social because it's super up to date.
Yeah.
And people can know. All right, you guys, this is the coveted question of the day.
And by the way, thanks to Gene, right? Is it Gene that was going to be here?
Who's Gene, John?
Right here, Gene Soergel, 4th generation. Was she supposed to be here
Amy.
today? Okay, well,
Amy was sick. Well,
it's
there's
your
I
notes.
wrote all
it's your notes, not mine. All right.
This is where we argue, you guys.
All right.
There's no Jean, but I mean, there is a Jean, but she wasn't coming on. So, question of the day, you guys. So much grown at Soergels, but in the fall, you are most known for your apples, as we just talked about. What is the best recipe for apples? Like, what are people most coming to get? Is it fritters? Is it for apple pie? Is it for applesauce? What is the most commonly heard thing that you're hearing?
Probably apple pie, wouldn't you
Really?
think, Eric? Yeah. I mean, there's so many different things. I encourage people to get a bunch of different apples and make their own applesauce. It's not hard to do.
Really?
Yeah, no, I'll just do.
It's
I
a
mean,
fun family step.
yeah. I mean, basically,
activity.
you take the skin off, just put the slices in a pan with a little bit of water and cook them, and then mash them with a potato masher or whatever, and you have applesauce.
My grandmother
It's
used to
so
make
easy to make.
the
It's
best
so
with
easy to make, and
cinnamon.
it's like
John, we
trying
just
to
weaseled a recipe out of them. Did you see that?
Right, yeah.
I faked a
for
question.
G-Chat.
That was top secret. Yeah.
That's a
That's
great
right.
idea.
See?
We'll have to talk to them
There
about
you go.
that. You
All
guys,
right.
thank you so much for your time. To
Our
your whole
pleasure.
family, we appreciate it. There's so much longevity, and we can't wait to come back in all seriousness. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you guys.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coming up,
Take
we're going
care.
to talk to Doug Oster, but we're going to hear a little more from the Jagoff Polka Band, the Polka
Who's not really the
Palastros.
Jagoff Polka Band.
Nice. There you go.
Now I'm going to get off the merry-go-round. Isn't that how it feels? Like, I love it. Oh, Eric, you're so sweet. You didn't have to do that.
Eric is playing yoga farm guy,
Oh my
as he's
gosh,
trying to
right?
crawl underneath the camera. So our next guest, we always welcome Doug Oster because, one, this is usually where Rachel confesses her planting mistakes.
I do. I screw up every time.
And-
And Doug's like, that's not what I said.
And then Doug educates us on different things. So it's fall, Doug, and I will tell you this: I have no idea what the name of the plant is that I just killed.
Yeah.
But my son's girlfriend gave me a plant, said you will not kill this, and I've had it next to a window for I don't know. What do you think? 14 months, 15 months,
That's right.
and it clearly I overwatered it because it just decided to rot like trench foot or something. So
Killed it with kindness.
Yeah.
That's it.
Very,
Yeah.
very, very common, actually.
Yes.
You know, I tell people for anything growing inside, just keep it on the dry side. Seriously, I just water some houseplants that have been sitting there for a month without water. That's how you keep them going.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I said, mostly killed with kindness. But I'm so happy that you guys are here. When you were talking to Randy, you don't understand that in here there is a culture, and I don't know how to explain it. And it comes from the top, like a culture of caring here. I've worked with Randy and his family for over 20 years. And,
Is that right?
And every time I have one of these crazy projects, he's like, yeah, sure, you can do a plant swap here, or you can give away these Pittsburgh heirloom tomato plants here. And if you talk to the people, especially the kids that have come through here and worked like through their high school years, they never forget it because they're treated so kindly.
right?
This is a special place.
I feel it. I mean, for what it's worth, you're right, Doug. You can feel that.
And
embrace.
you guys are talking about your Thanksgiving show. That big, ugly, you can't see it right there, right in front of you.
Don't point at Mr. Palastro when you say
That
big,
big
ugly.
blue, ugly squash right in front of you.
Okay.
See that?
Oh yeah, this
yes,
the gray
I
one.
thought-
So
over
we're
there.
pointing here. It's
That makes the best pumpkin pie. It's called a blue
Shut up.
Hubbard squash, and you can see it. Like if you were to look at that, you would say that's going to be a great.
And Doug, I'm not being funny. I didn't even think it was blue. I don't know what I would think it is.
Yeah,
I guess you would just kind of
it's
pass it
kind
up.
of Halloween gray, haunting gray kind of
It's
thing.
kinda
Yeah.
big and ugly and
Yeah, pass up, right?
Thick and
Yeah.
but when you make use those insides for a pumpkin pie, it's
For
the
what
best.
reason? Sweet?
Yeah, just flavor. You know,
Okay.
flavor and texture.
Okay.
Does that mean
How about that?
you can use less spices and things like that when you like it's almost on its own?
You're going to add spices.
Okay.
But you're going to get a flavor there that, you know, when you serve that pie, people are going to say, what's going on here?
Dude,
Why
are you kidding?
You're the.
We
you're
should
the
get
head-
one and try it.
you
Did
are
they
the
tell you
baker.
to tell us that's we'd buy it?
No. Actually, I brought that up here.
Oh, get out.
Oh,
Okay.
is that
I brought,
That's
in
right.
fact, when Randy and I were down there, I said, "Oh, you got blue Hubbard squash," and I said, "That makes the best pumpkin pie." And he goes, "You're right." And I carried that thing up here. I said, "I'm talking about my blue Hubbard
Now,
squash."
Doug, do people know that? Like the common person? or
Probably
we
not. They probably
okay.
think you got to have a pumpkin.
Yeah.
You know,
The
but
perfect.
yeah, but
Well, as we just learned, the red apple. That's
Yeah.
a fallacy too, right?
Yeah.
So the orange pumpkin
you
isn't
know, I wanted to
necessarily.
ask them too what their favorite apple was.
I was,
'cause
too.
One they have here is called. It's a later one. It's called Pink Lady.
Yes, I've seen those at the
And
grocery
it
store.
is
really?
good. And again, you know, when we're talking about like gardening and our freshness of produce, that's why we come here.
Sure.
When you eat one of these apples, and I mean, you guys should eat one of these apples.
I whispered it to
We didn't
John.
know if we
I
were
wonder
allowed.
if
We
we
didn't
can
want to get our hands slapped.
this is just like anything from the field.
If Doug does it, I'm doing it.
This I'll do it right
You
now.
bite that son of a
Give
gun.
me the,
All right.
the bruised one. The one John.
Oh.
The John ruined apple. I'll take it.
There it is right there.
All right.
All right.
Texture, flavor.
Oh, my God.
It explodes in flavor. You got a pie pumpkin there.
I know, and that's what I wanted.
Mm,
I'm eating an apple pie. Psych. Less calories. Bitches.
You know, it's coming right off the tree and going into a bin right here. That's why it's so good. And that's everything here. That's the blue Hubbard squash, everything. That's why we shop at places like this.
Yeah. So how many different kinds of apples are there? I mean,
Oh,
are there just so many?
hundreds.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's because of a cross-pollination, right?
Well, it's the breeders come up with new things like they were talking about. You know, there were a lot of older varieties in here. And we can see the orchard from right up here. One of them. You know, these older varieties at the time they were superior. But as breeding gets better and better, they're crossing things, but they're also putting in disease resistance. You know,
Right.
Fruit trees are tough to grow
Right.
because you know if it rains a lot, they're going to get fungal diseases. That's just the way it is. And so, proper pruning, all the things that they're doing here, but then adding these newer varieties that, crossing different varieties or one that has superior flavor, whatever it might be. It's fun to watch.
Doug, I'm not trying to stump you on this, but this is coming to mind in that Threadbare, who makes, the Weagle Whiskey people, they have Threadbare, and they talk about Johnny Appleseed. The Johnny Appleseed lived around here, and this is kind of how all of this started. When I think about the apple orchards here, do you know of any of that stuff? Is that a fact?
Definitely. Oh, definitely.
I didn't stump him.
He came through, actually.
That's cute.
Okay.
And Franklin in particular, up north, up there. I did a story up there actually about him coming through Franklin and spreading the apple seeds. And it was the funny thing about it is it wasn't this apple that we're eating today. It was an apple they used to make alcohol.
Right.
Really?
So that's where your Wiggle Whiskey comes from.
Right.
It was kind of a small green apple, and they would ferment them and make them into stuff. When I was a kid, we would get the apple cider and we would put it into the porch and let it ferment.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, we'd have hard cider. Not that I would really do that.
Right.
No.
Right.
You heard about
what
it,
happened
yeah.
to the apple cider?
Right.
We drank it all, Mom.
It was delicious.
It's so good for you.
After we were done playing baseball.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. That's so funny.
So is this like, I say in my notes, and I'm not really being funny, but is it the OG of all farms? Like, everyone knew Soergels, and I know there's so many farms. It's one of the things where you can't show favorites, right? You love
Sure.
going to these places, and you can find that thing at every farm, but you said it yourself. This place is a treasure. It's completely family-owned, and they just keep doing more.
That is the wonderful thing about most of these places is getting to know the family. Like I said, I've known Randy for 20 years. A lot of other farm owners also. They're just salt of the earth, hardworking people. We complain about our jobs. Could you imagine having to take care?
You're right.
And
Randy is always here.
Yeah.
He's
you could tell.
always.
And he talked
here.
about being, I forget the term he used, being adaptive. They literally have had to adapt every year, with the weather, with the environment, whatever's happening there.
I almost ran over here to whisper a question into your ear, but it's about Amy who does the natural
Right.
Soergels. She isn't, like when he was explaining what his parents did with him, they're not giving him this,
Right.
They're not giving Amy this. Amy is paying for this and earned this and turned it in. This is one of the progressive ideas that comes from Amy, now the younger people. And this is the part that I love about this place is that they don't just stand pat. Randy is open, like just even my crazy projects. He's open to these new ideas, and that's one of the reasons they're so successful. My wife was up here just a couple days ago, and she's like, "It was crazy up there."
Right.
I said, "What'd you get?" "What'd you get?" "I got apples. I got this. I got
Right.
a pumpkin. I got cider."
Yeah. No, I get it. And you can feel that they mean well, that they really want this. I mean, just like he said about the COVID box that continued on, that to me is amazing.
Man, I'll tell you what, I get that email. When I see what's in that box, I'm like, oh, that sounds good.
Now, can we go backwards to the, what is it called? The blue
Hubbard squash.
Hubbard squash. Can I show up at pretty much any other farm in the area to get a blue Hubbard? Or people are going to look at me sideways and go, we have no idea what you're talking
They're
about.
not going to say I don't know what you're talking about, but not every place is going to have
Okay.
a nice blue Hubbard squash like that.
So we did now.
Just see them all down there,
have you?
right behind you. There's a whole bin of them.
Oh,
down
I
there.
got you. Yeah. So then, have you made a pie out of those?
Oh, yes, I've made a pie out of
Now,
that
did
and
you
served it to 200 people.
Doug,
Leslie
can we-
Ponce approve.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Can we get that recipe? And Rachel and I will try it as one of our We'll cook it with you
yeah.
on one of our
I'll get
Jagging
it. I'll
Around
find
videos.
it.
All right, Doug. So we're heading into fall. What's the
Yeah.
biggest fallacies or things people need to know about moving their mums inside or getting ready for poinsettias or whatever else? What are the things that most people screw up as we head into fall with their
They stop
plants?
planting.
Is that right?
They don't understand that fall is the next to spring, the best time to plant. So trees, shrubs, perennials, bulbs, garlic, still cool weather vegetables, believe it or not. I'm growing year-round here in our climate in an outdoor space by choosing the right plants. And so it doesn't have to end. You might want it to end.
Right.
I've talked to people all the time through social media. Like, I asked them, I said, because I can't stop. I love this. When you get to this part of the season, not as many pests. We got a little bit more rain. the reason that we're planting now is these temperatures in short days are conducive to root growth. If I plant lots of trees and shrubs in the spring, but I got to do more for that tree or shrub because it's going to want to put on top growth, maybe flower, and put on bottom growth. So that's a lot to ask from a tree or a shrub, perennial. You put it in now, it doesn't want to put on top growth. It wants to establish those roots. That's why we do the bulbs that way too.
Right.
And then they're ready to go in the spring, and especially bulbs. Bulbs that used to be everybody planted bulbs at this time of the year, but it's not instant gratification. You know, the gratification is immense in the spring. You know, when I talk to gardeners, like my son is a new gardener, he doesn't understand why would you plant something that's only going to be a star for 3 weeks? I want something that's going to bloom from February to the next February. It doesn't work that way, kid.
I get it.
The reason that we love these things is they are ephemeral, and that they take us through the season, and especially daffodils. Once those daffodils start, there's no turning back. That's the harbinger of spring, we call it.
Okay.
And there are 13 different divisions of daffodils. It doesn't have to be yellow trumpets. And if you're going to plant bulbs, get this thing called a bulb auger. It's a big drill bit, $25. You put it on your drill. You can put 100 bulbs in 10 or 15 minutes, as opposed to, you know, people hate planting bulbs because there's this hand tool.
Yeah.
Like this, we call that cruel and unusual punishment for gardeners.
Right.
You'll have 100 bulbs. You'll put in 10, and you'll say, what am I going to do with the other 90? What if my neighbor wants some bulbs?
Yeah.
With this bulb auger, it makes it fun. I'm planting 1,000 bulbs a year. I have been inspired by when I was a kid, where my grandparents are buried, a cemetery called Lakeview Cemetery, where President Garfield is interned. They have a thing there. It started in the 1940s called Daffodil Hill. And when I was 7 years old visiting the graves, I looked behind me, and there was Daffodil Hill in full bloom. And my mother always talked of Daffodil Hill. And so when I came to Pittsburgh, I started building my own Daffodil Hill in memory of It's not just my grandparents. Now that I've been doing research, I've got a lot of family in Lakeview Cemetery from way back.
Wow.
That's a great story.
And so I'm planting these, and that's the way I'm doing it. I'm using that bulb auger, and I'll do 100, 200 here or there.
And where do you get it? Just like Home Depot?
No, just a place like this, a good nursery. I want good bulbs.
Gardening with power tools.
Yeah, definitely. It makes a big difference.
Yeah. All right, can we go off the map for 1 second? Do you have a question for him?
Yeah, I want to show him my mom's.
All right, cool. So as she's looking up pictures of her mom, her mom's. I know, I'm just kidding.
And while you're talking, I just saw a bunch of pies being delivered up here.
I see that, right?
And cider.
Oh my God!
Can we get done
Doug,
with this interview? No, I want my pie.
I
want
know,
my pie.
same, but
Look,
can we
Doug
just
is
look
going
at my
off the
mom's?
board for
Look
pie.
how good they look. How much longer do I have?
So your mums are the picture we're looking at. They're in full bloom.
Proud.
I do see a few good things.
Okay.
A few small buds though that are still coming.
Okay, cool.
So the trick on mums is when things cool off a little bit, they're going to last a lot longer. You know, a lot of people, just follow a calendar and say, okay, I'm going to put my mums out in September.
Yeah.
It was so hot.
Yes.
It's so dry. But right now, as we make this switch and we got longer time,
I may have some
now.
more time.
You're right.
Yes, look how pretty it looks.
In fact, I was talking to Randy down there. He said, I still have good mums here. We've moved a lot of mums, but I still have good mums that have tightly budded. That's another trick.
Okay.
And it looks like that's how you bought yours.
Yes.
I
read that, I swear.
Right. They weren't in full bloom because they won't last as long. But you got 2 sets of buds on there. And when they're tightly budded like that, just blushing, like I'll look at the plant next to it and see that's what it's going to look like. I want the tightly budded ones because they're going to last so much longer. Now, overwintering, don't even worry about it, okay? Don't worry about it. That plant that you have there in the pots that just goes, when it's done, go to the compost pile with it.
Okay.
Really? Don't try to save it
Gotcha.
inside or anything.
No, the only way to do it is get them in the ground early, in the actual ground. Again, that plant is putting out so much energy to put those flowers on. It's forced to do it.
That is, yeah.
And so enjoy it for what it is. And
That's what I read.
It's just like a daffodil.
Yeah.
It's an ephemeral fall beauty. It's a star of the fall garden, but don't worry about it fading away.
All right. So what's my next plant?
Next plant would be putting in some perennials. There's actually this perennial I want to talk about real quick. It's called Hellebore.
Okay.
The common name is Christmas rose or winter rose.
Okay.
and it's just starting to push out buds now.
Okay.
This is what perennials do. So perennials are these ephemerals where you got something that was there in the spring. That's when you see it. Well, this thing is going to start blooming right now, and to have buds and flowers strong in November, December.
In a pot or outside?
No,
on your lands?
out
Okay.
in the
out.
garden. Yeah, and
Okay.
that's part of this gardening journey is figuring out how to get blooms from these type of plants almost year round.
Yeah.
I've got one on the other side that I'm planting spring bulbs. They're called snowdrops, little itty bitty things. They have bloomed for me when the stars align January 15th, close to the house, a good
Wow.
thaw, and they sit there in suspended animation. But it could be January 15th, it could be February 15th, or it could be March 15th, depending on how the winter
Pittsburgh.
ends. Right.
Yeah, right.
And so this is part of the beauty and fun of the garden journey.
Yeah.
Is seeing these things when they come. I've been waiting and looking at this plant and saying, okay, I see a little white bud there. Okay, this is going to be great. And last year they were in full bloom into January. The flowers are almost plastic in that they'll.
What's it called again, Doug?
Christmas rose?
Christmas rose is the common name. It's Hellebore or
Hellebore.
Helleborus.
Okay.
And there's a couple different kinds. There's the winter rose and there's the Lenten rose.
Okay.
Which comes up with the crocus. And again, evergreen foliage, which is a bonus, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's always green. And then the gravy, we call it, is the flowers, man. And it's just absolutely
I've never even
wonderful.
heard of it. Sounds like a good gift from my mom. As a
Doug,
matter
when
of
you
fact.
come on in February, I'm going to be like, do you want to see my Hellebore? And they're going to be pretty.
Before we let you go to give you the question of the day, when should we have you on to talk about Rachel's favorite flower, sunflowers?
That's May.
May. All right.
We're starting from
All
seed in
Okay.
May.
Okay.
The best
That's
way
my
to
favorite.
start them is from seed. The only thing to watch on sunflowers is that when they're in that sprouting stage, they are very tender, and rabbits and deer love them. Once they get a little bit bigger, the animals don't like them. They get kind of stringy, and they'll do their thing. But I want to turn you onto one plant real quick called Mexican sunflower.
Oh, my word.
Uh-oh.
So this is a different type of sunflower with 3-inch wide orange flowers. It is my number one pollinator plant. It needs nothing from the gardener.
That's me.
We started from seed, and I don't care where you put it, it's going to grow. Now it could be out in the sun in beautiful soil, and seriously, could reach 20 feet tall.
No way.
Wait, well-
I had one in the shade reach 20 feet tall.
Will it survive Tanner dog pee?
Oh, please.
If
Listen,
Tanner
call
dog pees on it, will it
Mexican
survive
sunflower.
that?
It'll survive anything.
Okay.
The last things left on this planet are going to be Mexican sunflower,
out.
cockroaches, and Keith Richards.
I think
Well
I agree.
done, Doug.
That was
Well
good,
done.
Doug.
All right.
Doug, you are such a pleasure. I know we mean it because we love bringing you on. We have more and more questions
Thanks
every
for
time.
coming here. Thanks for showing
love it.
people
Oh, my
this
gosh,
place.
yeah.
Oh,
we
we
had
have
a
to come
blast
back
here.
for sure.
This place is so special and so wonderful.
It is.
And come up here and visit them. They've got lots of garden plant stuff too,
Yes.
and bulbs and all sorts of stuff. That's where I'm going next.
Yeah, well,
I'm looking
I-
for bargains.
Yeah, there
Right,
you go.
yeah.
There you go.
And I'm gonna keep
Exactly.
eating my
Doug,
apple.
go
Kiwi.
ahead and eat.
Yes.
We're gonna find out. Everybody knows where to find Doug, right? I mean, who doesn't follow Doug? Literally, you got here and the guys
it's
are like, "You're Doug."
organicgardener.com, right?
That's one of them, but DougOster.com.
DougOster.com. Okay.
And follow on
Let me
all
continue with my
platforms.
apple.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. His rider said he was allowed to eat at least one apple.
There you go. And then, so his question of the day, though, we want to know from you. You've sort of talked about this, but these apples, what is the best recipe for this apples? Are you going to go with
Apple crisp.
apple crisp?
Oh,
Okay.
My wife
yeah.
makes the best apple
Does
crisp.
she really?
Okay, we'll be
What
over.
kind of apple?
I don't know. Probably a baking apple.
Oh, okay.
We'll bring the Palastro band over and we'll come eat apple fritters at your house
And you
with your
cannot
wife.
be sad when this band starts playing. You
Right.
have to. It makes you happy.
Right.
It's a happy thing.
Exactly.
All right, that
And
was a
as a
good
matter
cue.
of fact, all right, so
Go to
that's
that.
it. You might as well just swing around and let's hear some more YaJagoff polka music. I really do want to try to make it, and I've never made
It's phenomenal.
Do we Nice. All right. Are we on
Look
this
how
call?
you rate. We're walking over to you
Listen,
because you're getting requests
We'll let you hold
now.
that. We're becoming more mobile. Last
God.
week's podcast, we picked up from a tent, moved about 60 yards in about a minute to go watch these guys
kept
from the
talking.
Manticore Choir, and we kept talking,
I'm
and we
good at
stayed
that.
online the entire time.
Yeah.
We didn't drop any chords or anything. All right.
You guys, we missed you at Kennywood.
Yeah, we missed that.
Yeah. You didn't get any pierogies. We should have brought you pierogies. We apologize.
Okay.
Go ahead. Here, I'll get the other one.
Go ahead. And you missed us.
We
That's what we
did
want to
miss you.
hear.
Yeah, we always love coming out
Okay.
to Kennywood and seeing you guys in the
Yeah.
Pierogi Festival.
Yeah.
But we unfortunately had a previous booking.
That's great.
We were out at Cecil Park.
You've been here before.
Oh, yeah, we used to come out when we were kids. Our parents brought us when we were kids. That's
I
what
love
everybody's
it.
been saying.
So that was
and
a
it's just
tradition,
like,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually just brought my mom out in the springtime. We bought some perennials and bought some vegetables, and
I love it. Well, I'll give you a tip. You're going to want to buy a Mexican sunflower.
I was just
Okay?
when we're done, I'm going to talk to Doug where I can get the seeds.
I'm telling you, isn't that crazy?
I think he's actually lying. He heard Doug say the word perennial, and he's just dropping names.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
I
even think
agree.
he knows
I
what a
agree.
perennial
No,
is.
Jeff's my gardener. He's my,
is that
he's my
right?
Doug. Yeah.
Well, I have my own Doug, so there's
Yeah.
that, you know. And you guys don't know this, but I turned 45 and wanted a new bucket list of stuff. And poor Doug, green thumb. It's not going so well so far, but now with Doug, it's getting a little bit better. Wouldn't you say, John?
Yeah, I would agree.
My mums
It
are
definitely
beautiful.
say- yeah,
Yeah.
the mums look good. Yes. Now, here's the question: is how many gigs have you guys done? We're coming to the end of your traditional season. How many gigs have you guys done so far? Oh, wait.
This year?
Go to you.
This year we have only done 8.
Okay.
Really?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they've
Last
all-
year we did 2.
Okay, so
Because of the COVID
all
thing, right?
all
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But is it October? Is it the whole Oktoberfest culture feel? Is that what it is?
It's starting
Yeah.
to come back.
But one of my questions was, I feel like even though this is kind of the traditional time where they're bringing this, people are bringing this type of music, minus COVID, of course. Are you getting that feel that people are kind of getting more into a cultural atmosphere? Or should we push that? Should we be marketing that for you?
It's tough. We were talking with Doug earlier that the crowds for this type of music have just been dwindling.
Really?
There are no young people coming up to take it over.
Okay.
There are no people playing it.
I thought that, but I have to tell you, and we'll reference the last podcast where we were at the Oktoberfest in Slippery Rock. They have, what's the name? Manicore.
Manicore, yeah.
I could
Eintracht
not believe
Manicore, yeah.
the diversity in age.
Yeah.
There were a lot of young. No.
Singers, a cappella singers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the cool part is they practice every Tuesday. And get used to harmonizing and things together. So we have to figure out how to do that for you guys.
Okay.
We need more people to appreciate it.
Yeah.
We played at Scott Park's Oktoberfest, and right after us, they had the German dancers come on that are from the Teutonia Manicore down on the north side.
Okay.
So they have children, and they have the young adults, and they have the older adults. So
Right.
they have a nice mix in the generation.
So for you guys, is this, and I know we've asked you this before, but is this more about being family and being together and carrying on the tradition?
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
It's what you do together.
We're not even Slovenian, believe it or not. And this is Slovenian style music.
Yeah.
But Jeff and I are in it because our dad's in it. And
Yeah.
He's in it. His dad was in it. His uncle was in it. And it's
Them to start having kids, right?
No comment.
All right, so before we let you go and play one last song, tell us a little bit about the instruments that either we're watching on video or we're hearing on the podcast.
All right, these are called button box accordions, mostly just in 3 keys. They're diatonic, which is the same as a harmonica. Different sound in and out. Okay. So we're playing, I'm CF and B flat on this one. Now, Dad's is totally different. His is called a half chromatic. He has a lot of the sharps and flats like the piano keys do that this box doesn't.
How old is yours?
I bought this in '81.
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
40.
Okay.
Yeah.
so
Wow.
40 years. And
Wow.
His is older.
Yeah, mine was bought in 1976.
John, what year was that?
Right, that's the year that Rachel was born. She's a bicentennial
I'm a
baby.
bicentennial baby, yeah.
Oh,
Right.
Congratulations.
You fed right into that.
Man, I'm telling you.
And what are you playing, Greg?
I'm playing a tuba. This actually was a United States Navy horn. It was made in 1918.
Oh, my gosh.
That's, I mean, if you look at it, you can see it's got miles on it.
It does have miles
Right.
on it.
And
Do these need to, do each of them need tuned regularly?
Mine does. There's not so much.
Not so much. How cool is that? So this is an instrument that would be easy to pick up.
Sunflower.
To learn. Yeah, there
Right,
you go.
right. Mexican sunflower. We're trying to make Rachel's life easier all day
Yeah,
long.
right.
Plant your hellebores.
There you go.
Right.
There you
All
go.
right. So we know that people can find some of your music on YaJagoff.com store.
I was just going
You
to
have some
say,
CDs there.
listen, you guys, shop local. I've been seeing all over Facebook where people are saying the United States, if you are shopping in the United States, you don't have to worry about things being shipped. And this whole shortage at holiday time, go on YaJagoff.com and buy their CD. That's the way you support local, and that's
Your
the way you
CDs
make
aren't
holidays
sitting
better.
outside the port of Los
No.
Angeles on a cargo ship, are they?
We got ours in on a cigar boat. Florida.
There you go. There you go.
All right. So before we let you guys go, why don't we hear a song to take us out?
All right.
All right. And wait. So we want to do an ad here, real quick here.
Do you want
Yeah. So.
for Honda?
Yeah.
Sorry, that
So
was
we
my
have to
cue,
thank
you
everybody.
guys.
We have to thank our special guest for sure, and we have to thank Doug Oster for coming on the podcast, and thanks to Randy and Amy and Eric for organizing us to come up to Soergels. And we have to tell you that this is a good scratch and sniff podcast because basically, as we were sitting here talking to Doug, I thought Doug has a great smelling gum. And no, it's like cinnamon and
did
pies.
smell-
You just started. Wow, it smells so good here. I love Doug's cologne. But anyway, so yeah,
Oh,
Doug
my
said his garlic. So, anyways, thank you to
guys,
everybody.
Thank you to Rorick Honda. Rorick Honda may get a smaller fleet of vehicles and trucks weekly, but they have a 100-point system to best prepare their pre-owned and certified vehicles. Plus, they have a warehouse full of backups that can satisfy any vehicle request. Visit Rorick.com for all of your vehicle needs. And now we're going to close out. Rachel, stop with the gunna. We are going to close out with our friends, the YaJagoff Polka Band, whether they like it or not.
Sing along. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, there you go. All right, guys. Thanks.